According to the National Missing and Unidentified Persons System, there are approximately 90,000 missing persons in the United States at any given time. With the advancement of modern detective work and advanced scientific methods, such as genealogy testing, the vast majority of missing person cases end up being solved today. Even so, sometimes investigators just aren't able to provide enough conclusive evidence to put the pieces together on some of these cases, and they go unsolved. There have been some devastating, very suspicious missing persons cases in recent times that definitely fall into this category. Throughout history, though, all around the world, certain missing person cases have left investigators and families struggling to find answers. When there is little evidence to no evidence and no eyewitnesses, missing persons cases tragically end up being closed and unsolved. Come with us as we walk through some of the most puzzling and tragic missing persons cases throughout history all around the globe. When children go missing, it raises entire communities to rally together. There is always hope that there can be a positive outcome. There are cases where abducted children return to their families, sometimes decades later. The 4 cases covered are cold cases with very little evidence and no resolution for the families. There is always a hope that the right person will see an article like this one, and a memory may be jogged. An odd conversation might be remembered. Anything that can help resolve these cases. Number 1. Helen Karipidis. Helen Karipidis was the third of 6 children to Theo and Vola Karipidis. The large family resided in Marrickville, Australia, a suburb just outside of Sydney. Just before Helen's disappearance, Theo and Vola separated, and Vola had been granted full custody of all the children. On December 22, 1988, the children were playing at a playground near their home. 10-year-old Helen played with a large group of neighborhood children and her siblings for most of the afternoon. Vola called her children in for supper around 5:30 p.m. Their home was close enough to the playground that the children could easily hear their mother calling for them to come in. 5 of the 6 children returned, but there wasn't an immediate cause for concern. It was initially assumed that Helen had gone for supper at a neighbor's house and forgot to tell someone. Although when the sun went down and Helen hadn't returned, the family searched for her. They knocked on all their neighbors' doors, and when they discovered Helen hadn't gone over to a friend's house, police were called. Her siblings were confident that Helen had been with them as late as 5 p.m. No one remembers seeing anyone suspicious or out of the ordinary. It just seems as if Helen had walked away from the group. The initial suspect was her father, Theo. At the time of his daughter's disappearance, Theo had been abusing alcohol and was known to be violent. It was also theorized that Helen had run away because of her father's abuse, but the family didn't believe this theory, as it was very unlikely Helen to run away. She was very close to her older sister, Maria, and it didn't seem likely that Helen would run away alone. Investigators eventually concluded that Helen had been abducted, though they had no evidence to go on. There is still a $50,000 reward for any information on Helen. She would be 42 today. Anyone with information is urged to call Crime Stoppers at 1-800-333-0000. Number 2. Michael Dunahee, missing since March 24, 1991. In Victoria, British Columbia, Canada, 4-year-old Michael Dunahee was at a park with his parents. His mom was playing touch football with a local league and his dad was spectating. Michael asked his mother, Crystal, if he could go over to the playground. She said he could, but he was to wait for his dad to come. She remembered watching him walk through the crowd for a few minutes. Michael was wearing a blue hooded jacket, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle t-shirt, rugby pants, and blue sneakers. His father went to meet Michael at the playground, but couldn't find the 4-year-old. Michael's dad swiftly alerted those at the park, and a massive search began within minutes of Michael's disappearance. Around 50 people were in the neighborhood calling his name and knocking on doors. Police were also quickly alerted, and it was quickly concluded that Michael hadn't wandered off. His disappearance sparked one of the most extensive police investigations in Canadian history. Over 11,000 tips had been received, and police had eyewitnesses say they saw an older man in his 40s or 50s near the park with a van, but officers were never able to track down the man or the van. The abductor would have only had about 5 minutes to snatch Michael. Michael would be 34 today, and there is still a $100,000 reward for any information on Michael. His family are still hoping that someone will recognize him from his age progression photos. If you have any information on Michael, please contact Crime Stoppers at 1-800-222-8477. Number 3. Brittney Ann Beers, missing since September 16, 1997. In Sturgis, Michigan, 6-year-old Brittney Ann Beers was playing outside. At 7:30 p.m., she was riding her bike, and at 8:30 p.m., her mother left to run errands. Brittney's half-brother said he saw her sitting on a bench about 5 minutes after their mother left. A witness told investigators he saw Brittney talking to an unidentified man in a red or brown mid-sized vehicle. Brittney then walked over to the witness and told him that she had made a new friend. She continued to play outside, and the witness left the area. This would be the last confirmed sighting of Brittney. Brittney's mother returned at around 9 p.m. and asked her son where Brittney was. They began searching, and shortly after 9, the authorities were called. Police located Brittney's bike that had been dumped near the area she had last been seen. Sketches of the man Brittney had been talking to were distributed. He was described as in his late 20s or early 30s, with short dark hair, a thick mustache, and was either driving a mid-sized red car or a brown Renault. Police never located this man and described him as a person of interest that they wished to question. Brittney was said by neighbors to be frequently neglected, and people assumed she was often abused. Brittney was last seen wearing a white tank top with a floral design, pink tie-dyed shorts with white sneakers. She was missing 4 upper baby teeth at the time of her disappearance. A year following Brittney's disappearance, an older brother and younger sister were removed from the home following abuse and neglect allegations. Her father, Raymond Beers, Uncle James Beers, and the father of one of her half-brothers, Kevin Folsom, were all accused of abusing the children, including Brittney. Folsom was also arrested and charged for molesting Brittney, but was released in 2008. In the year 2000, her case had sparked media attention when a man was arrested for child pornography possession, and in some of the photos there was a girl who resembled Brittney. It was later determined to be a girl from Texas who testified against her abusive parents and had them jailed. A woman who was a neighbor of Brittney said that she hoped someone had discovered the abuse when she was experiencing and took Brittney to give her a better life. Brittney would be 29 today. If you have any information, please contact the Sturgis Police Department at 1-269-651-3231. Number 4. Aaron Mitchell Anderson, missing since April 7th, 1989. In Pine City, Minnesota, Aaron Mitchell Anderson was a year old when he played in the backyard of his family's home. His mother had left him alone for a few minutes, and when she came back out, Aaron had vanished. The property bordered the Snake River and was next to a large embankment that led to the river, so the police assumed he had fallen in and drowned. His body had never been recovered, and the police dogs didn't catch his scent anywhere near the river. The police admitted to only exploring the drowning theory and ignored up to 20 other leads in the disappearance. An extensive search of the area was done several days after his disappearance, but Aaron was only a year old and couldn't have gotten that far. Both of his parents firmly believed that he was abducted. Aaron had a white birthmark on his lower abdomen, and he had had an enlarged head as a child. He was last seen in a yellow and red sweatshirt, with a puffy dinosaur on the front, light gray corduroy pants and a gray ski jacket, a white knit hat with green snowflakes and green ear flaps, brown plastic snowmobile boots with nylon tops and liners, and possibly gray socks. Aaron Mitchell Anderson would be 33 years old today. But if you have any information about Aaron, please contact the Pine County Sheriff's Office at 1320-629-3930. Helen Karipidis, Michael Dunahee, Brittney Ann Beers, and Aaron Mitchell Anderson are all missing children whose cold cases are still unsolved. If you have any information, please contact your local authorities or any of the numbers that I had listed in the article. Thank you very much for listening, and I'll catch you in the next video.